the next question is from Christian Boslang from CBC News. Please go ahead. Line is open.
Hi, Minister Joly. Can you describe how you would characterize the Indo-Pacific strategy when it comes to our long-standing or our previous approach to China? Would you say it's a significant change or consistent? How would you describe it?
Well, you know, I think we'll never have to apologize for defending our national interests and without compromising our values. This is the central tenet of the Indo-Pacific Strategy. And now, when it comes to China, we have a clear framework when it comes to dealing with the government of China. And we will engage in diplomacy because we think diplomacy is a strength. At the same time, we'll be firm. And that's why we have now a very transparent plan to engage with China.
To follow up, are you worried about the risk that China might, that there might be blowback from China because of some of the, rhetoric that you guys have used in the strategy, such as increasingly disruptive global power?
Well, this is in line with what many of our partners around the world have stated even recently. I must add that in the NATO latest strategic concept back in June, China is now for the first time highlighted as an issue for NATO. So I'm heading to NATO next week, leaving here and heading to Europe, and we'll be definitely talking about the Indo-Pacific strategy and our China policy with our European allies and friends. And also, Mary is heading to Japan. François-Philippe Champagne was just in Japan and Korea. Our goal is to be extremely close to these countries as well.
The region is also home to the world's most populous country, China, and Canada's relationship with China is one of the core elements of the Indo-Pacific strategy. It is no secret that China is becoming increasingly assertive as it advanced interests and values that are very different from ours. Le Canada.
But Canada will continue to maintain an open relationship with China.
We will challenge China when we ought to. We will cooperate with China when we must. And we will work closely with our allies and partners to help maintain peace, security, and stability in the region.
Christian Passline, CBC.
Hi, Minister Anand. Your colleague, Minister Joly, this morning linked the Indo-Pacific strategy to security in the Arctic and Arctic sovereignty. Can you elaborate maybe a little bit about how additional resources in the Pacific contributes to Arctic sovereignty?
I think it's very important to recognize first and foremost that many Pacific nations are the gateway to the Arctic. And in fact, we do see China declaring itself as a near Arctic state. It is important, therefore, to build even closer relationships with countries, allies like Japan and South Korea, for example. So increasing our presence in the Pacific actually helps security globally, including Arctic security. It goes hand in hand with our investments in NORAD modernization. Across the board, we are increasing defense spending, and globally, we will have an increased Canadian presence as a result.
Can you comment on whether you think there might be any risk of blowback or escalation on China's side given these increased investments from Canada?
Most definitely. It's important to remember, first and foremost, that we have a goal of upholding peace and security in the region, given that we are a Pacific nation ourselves. Stability in the Indo-Pacific is essential to global security because the region is at the center of a global shift and it is growing economically. As I outlined in my remarks at the Shangri-La Dialogue, our goal is to continue to have a presence in the Indo-Pacific in order to promote peace and stability, with our allies. And along with that, we will ensure that the region remains one that is stable, and then one that can continue to grow economically. As I mentioned, we will challenge China when we need to, and we will cooperate with China when we must.